Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Always Ageless, where we definitely believe that growing older just means growing bolder and doing more exciting things in your life. I'm your host, Valerie Van de Zilver, and no matter what your age is, you are definitely in the right place. This show is your trusted space for real conversations, for expert insights, and stories that will definitely inspire you. We're here to help you find the right direction, the solutions, and definitely the resources to live your best life right where you are or wherever you're headed for your next place to live. Today, we're talking about something that touches everyone's heart: homeownership and safety in your older years. And I couldn't ask for a better guest than America's senior home coach, Katherine Ambrose. She's going to talk about the emotional side of moving, what homeownership means for people in their older years, why so many people want to stay in their current homes. And she is definitely the epitome of the American's home coach. She runs television shows, she has workshops in her community, she mentors other agents. She's about to be a grandma, and she brings passion and practical wisdom to the table. So roll up your windows, grab a cup of tea. Let's dive right in and welcome Katherine at Always Ageless.
Thank you so much, Valerie. I'm so excited to be here.
We're glad to have you. So this is Home Ownership Month. Let's talk about why we're doing this, especially right now. It's National Home Ownership Month. It's also National Safety Month. And the theme for National Safety this year happens to be safety at home. So that's a really special place for us here, those of us who help people in their older years to be safe and happy at home. So let's talk about homeownership. How do you think that's evolved for older adults over the past few decades? Do you think it has? Do you think it's the same?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's the American dream. And so the people that own homes today, let's say the oldest Americans that own homes today, it was the American dream to buy your own home. It was also a very important part of their retirement. Idea being that over time, you pay off your home and it helps you fund your retirement years because you no longer have a house payment. So that is really instilled deeply in our culture. And I see a lot of older homeowners that are still living in the home that they raised their children in. And the challenge is that we are aging every day. Our houses are aging every day. Yet the houses were built for people that never age. The houses were built for people really to live the American dream, get married, have a family, go to work, but not necessarily to grow older in. And so a lot of our property across the United States is functionally obsolescent for the stage of life that people are in. And so we have to look at how do we keep ourselves safe in our own home.
That's true. So when we talk about functionally obsolescent, let's talk about our viewers and our listeners, what does that really
Well,
mean? Functionally obsolescent in
in
our
real
homes.
estate, it was a term we had to learn to pass our real estate license. And for some reason,
That's
that
true.
term stayed in my head. What it was supposed to mean is different than how I use it today, because today I've really latched onto that. It means that our homes are not oftentimes really set up for the stage of life that we're in. By the time we turn 50 years of age, we need approximately 50% more light than we needed in our younger years. And so the lighting might not be appropriate for aging eyes. By the way, the National Aging in Place Council and a number of university studies, there's lots of statistics out there that aging in place starts, get this, at the age of 40. So if you're in your 80s or 90s, or your parents are, they shouldn't feel bad and think, about aging out of their home, because aging in place starts at 40. That's maybe when we should start thinking a little bit more about those nice pull down attic ladders and climbing up
Right.
those rickety stairs with,
Yep.
plastic tubs of Christmas decor and things like that. It's very dangerous. I've been selling.
Or the little ladder that goes down to where the man brings the coal. I don't know if
Oh,
any of you
yeah.
I was raised in the Midwest, right? The man dumped the coal into
So
the ground. Yeah, that's
I've been in
scary.
housing and real estate my entire life, and I've always pointed out that tremendous feature of the pull down ladder. never thinking how dangerous it really is as we age. What if you fall off that? People fall off of those all the time. And unfortunately, I hate to bring it down a little bit, but can I just be real? My husband and I
Sure.
has a long time husband wife real estate team. We've sold a lot of homes where homeowner died in the garage, hitting their head, and blood stains that wouldn't come out of the
Oh,
concrete. And,
oh
we've
gosh.
sold a lot of listings. And so, of course, by doing so, we've run into a lot of homes where a homeowner died from hitting their head. Lots of people die in their bedroom, hitting their head on a bedpost or the corner of the dresser. And for a long time, as even a young realtor, I was freaked out by anything that looked dangerous in the bedroom, something you could hit your head on. And so falling, doesn't everyone know, that falling is the number one risk as we age? And then yesterday, I was doing a story on brain function, and the scientist and the physician there both mentioned that the second cause of going to a hospital is dizziness, and that's related to the
Really?
vestibular system. But just think, dizziness, maybe not having as great of stability as we age, not continuing to exercise and be strong, losing muscle strength, all these things can contribute to falls. And so, what can we do in our home to prevent falls? And lighting is one. Taking up those
Yes.
area rugs that you love, love, love. And people are so
I'm the
stubborn.
victim.
People are so stubborn, and they want those rugs
Yes.
even when they know they're so dangerous. And just what
Yeah.
can we do to the home to modify it so we can age well and safely and continue to live life
And
fully till our
yeah.
last sunset?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, why do you think that that people want to stay in their homes longer right now? Do you think that it's an emotional thing, or do you think it, in our case, it's more
Yeah,
economic,
I think it's
right?
both.
Because
I think it's mostly emotional, and it's very fear based for obvious reasons because people fear losing their independence. Like, it's ingrained in us to pick our own clothing when we're a toddler and to want to get on that yellow school bus and eventually borrow our parents' keys and beg for money so we can be free, be independent with their car and their money. This is how we are born. We're born to be autonomous and be in charge of our own life. And so that's what I'm all about, is empowering others so that you can be in charge of your whole life the whole way through. And that means being proactive and pragmatic and doing everything you can to be healthy and strong and safe in your own home. And to be thinking about home is not just where you live today, but what home could be maybe somewhere else, dreaming a new dream of what home can be. But I like to say that people
oh,
defend their home like it's the Alamo. And how well did that
yeah,
work out?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's interesting, funny comment. So well, yeah, your home could be your castle, also could be your burden,
Hmm.
right? So let's talk about the rise of aging in place. Has that been, I don't remember always hearing that
Hmm.
term. Is that a new term, but an old philosophy? And what exactly is aging in place? You just mentioned it's maybe the home that you're in now, but what if you have to move? What does aging in place really
What it's
mean?
supposed to mean is, where can you age best? Maybe it's the community of Orange County, not necessarily the house you happen to live in right now, but staying in Orange County because that's where your network is. That's where your hairdresser is, your physicians, your friends, your church, your bank, that your life is there in Orange County, California. And so if we could think a little bit broader than the house we happen to live in right now, and maybe it's the community that we live in right now. And as we go through life, we're usually always forward thinking. Maybe we're getting excited about getting married, having a baby, buying a house, buying the next house, going to Italy. We're looking forward. And at some point, I think depression and fear and life review causes people to stop looking forward and be in constant reflection and life review. And that is very dangerous. it's very important that we are always like dreaming a new dream and planning something and staying social. And to me, socialization is the most important factor of aging. And if people isolate in their home as they become fragile, as they go into their fragile years, they isolate more and more. Maybe they have Meals on Wheels. Maybe they have family member check on them. Maybe they have home care and home health. And these are all great things, but still, it's very isolating. And there's a lot of people where Meals on Wheels is the only socialization that they get, as an example. And that causes brain melt. Okay, that causes cognitive decline because when we're sitting all the time and we're staying in our safe place, Teepa Snow, who's the world renowned expert on dementia, um,
Uh-huh.
dementia care, she said, when you're
She
just in
is,
your
yes.
safe place, your brain just kind of goes like on autopilot, just in comfort zone, and you're not stimulating yourself. And again, that's just leading to faster physical cognitive decline, better chances of falls, and all of that. So I think you can modify a house. You can put an elevator in, you can put a chairlift in. An architect could get all excited about all the groovy things you could put in a house so you're safe physically. But is anyone thinking about socially? Because we are meant to be social creatures. And are we feeding ourselves socially if we're hiding in our house?
It's interesting that you talk about that. I heard a TED talk from a lady who said that she was sending her mom meals and she was making sure that something was always sent to her mom so she would be fed and she'd have enough food, which I always call my mom, do you have food for tonight? Right. But what her mom really wanted was her to stop by. Right.
Mhm.
And you can send Meals on Wheels, you can do all that stuff. What your parents really want is your time.
Craving that love.
Yeah.
And the way they spell love, oftentimes our family members spell it Time.
Yeah,
And it can be
absolutely.
frustrating because, let's say, mother and daughter, they're living in different, living in different seasons of life where the daughter is busy, maybe going to the gym, busy with her career, with her dreams, her husband, her adult children, her grandchildren, maybe even her own great grandchildren. I mean, a really robust life with a lot of time pressures, maybe her own health. Maybe she has cancer. Maybe she has other things that she's dealing with. And mom has become very isolated. And we're maybe making sure that mom has nutrition and thinking that we're doing a good job as a daughter. But if mom's very isolated, it's really craving that
Amen.
that love factor and that socialization. It can be frustrating because the daughter can feel like, gee, mom just keeps talking about the same old thing all the time. And what I've learned is that the reason why it seems that way is because mom has very limited socialization and very limited things going on in her life. And she's giving you the best that she has. And so when she brings up something that seems repetitive, it's because it's all she's got to talk about. Whereas if someone were to live in senior living among cohorts that have kind of the same life experience because they've lived the same history, there's a richness that people can plug into and have meaningful conversations. And then they become less dependent on their adult kids and grandkids that are so busy in their lives.
But I think that senior living also, it's important that you, if you're going to put your parents or your mom or dad in a position or they choose to go in a place like that, it's really important that you choose one that socially matches
Hmm.
them. And I was in a community this week where I thought my mom would have a really hard time here. But I've been in other communities where I thought my mom would love it
Hmm.
here. And there's one by a university here where they met when I went on a tour, they mentioned that they have so many retired professors in their building
Mm.
that they have a club for the retired
Oh man,
professors.
that would be
So
right up
they're
my alley.
yes, yeah, yeah, so their mental stimulation is always going. So I think that's really important to consider. You know, we go on the tours and we how pretty they are and they feed us and everybody's got great food and all those
Mhm.
things. But really, I think it's important to match them, just as you're saying, socially,
Exactly. So, a
right?
good placement professional or a senior home coach would work with your family, um, usually at no cost. Now, you could also hire a care manager and they may charge by the hour for the same type of services. But there are professionals out there that can help your family give the best advice so it can match better medically, financially, and socially. Because let's face it, it's not about a community that's convenient for the adult kids. It is about what is going to be the best lifestyle where mom can really thrive. Where can she have a vibrant lifestyle that's going to keep her healthy and happy for as long as possible so she can be around to love on the younger generations for as long as possible? And we also,
Yeah, my mom is scared to death I'm gonna put her in a nursing
mhm,
home, right? Because her vision of that is a place where there's old people in the hallway and they're sitting in the corner. No one's giving them any attention and they have a bib, and she doesn't, of course, I've taken her, but she's afraid that that's going to be her end
mhm,
place. And instead, she could be somewhere where they're doing art and gardening and but also senior tech has a role
yes,
here. There's a program called On Screen. They put a little camera about this size on the top of your television, and it has AI. A girl named Joy lives in On Screen, and so mom will say to Joy, "Joy, please, I want to watch a TV show with horses." And then Joy will connect my mom, and also then we can break into that. So I have an app on my phone. I can go and say, "Mom, how are you?" And mom can see me, and I can see her that she's safe and she's fine. And then I can break back out again. And it's not the same as being there, but certainly she loves knowing that I take time
that's
for her.
awesome.
There's a lot of age tech
Now,
things as
is
well.
Joy an AI friend or a real life friend on screen?
No, no, no. Joy is
Okay.
AI.
So I have been hearing about more and more AI programs. So I think there's a lot of companies that are trying to come to the rescue and help with these kind of situations because you're right too. It could be an economic issue too. And we really hope that older homeowners would make good decisions for themselves and, like I said, be proactive and pragmatic and make good decisions for themselves. But like 88% are going to defend their home like it's Alamo and not want to leave. And at some point, it could become a medical decision where daughter or someone steps in and makes a medical decision. And by that time, you're probably talking about skilled nursing, memory care, or maybe just assisted living, but you've kind of missed the cruise ship on land opportunity of independent living. And you may not qualify for um, the continuum life care plan communities, right at that entry level where you would like to be. So it's really complex, like all careers are. And so the senior living community world is very complex, and tapping into professionals can really make a bit difference so you can make good choices. And I think it's really sad. I was candy striper at a Catholic nursing home in the 1970s, and I have that picture that your mom has of a nursing home, where people are just in a wheelchair hunched over, and yeah, just I just have these sad memories in my head. So I'm happy that my real estate career has kind of brought me full circle to serving seniors again. That today, senior living communities by and large are very vibrant, they're very competitive, and they want people to be happy. But I love
Right.
seeing all these things coming onto the market to help people also age in place at home if that's what they choose to do.
Yes. And I think that it's a hard decision to make as to where is your next place going to be. Should it be assisted living? And once you leave your home and you sell your home, that's final. Although you can go in my mom's case where she's renting someplace, but she's still independent. She's in a condominium in a 55 plus community. But those are tough decisions and so much more often, is that good English? That the children are involved in this decision
Yes.
and we have to help make those decisions for them. So how can I think that there's almost two populations, two groups here that need to be serviced. It's the older, the aging parent, but it's also the people our age who now we're more involved in helping them make their
Mhm.
decisions. Don't you think so?
Absolutely. And so you're a caregiver if you are making sure that mom gets meals, that the air conditioner servicing gets done, that the plumber gets over there, that this drawer gets fixed, that the light bulbs are changed. You are a caregiver. Caregiving is very stressful, and caregiving can last 15 to 20 years. Maybe you're helping your dad with caregiving, and then next year helping mom. It could be a 15 to 20-year span. And especially when it's spouses caring for each other, 30% of caregivers will predecease the person they're caring for. It's very stressful. My husband had significant heart problem April before last. And I know it was the stress of being a caregiver for first his dad and also his mother. And then his dad passed. And now he and his sister both are like extreme caregivers for her. Even though she's now in independent living, it's just as stressful in a way because she's calling all day long. She's got really sad symptoms of dementia. We're trying to keep her in this happy, beautiful place as long as possible before the next step of memory care, and which still can be beautiful, but we want to keep her vibrant and successful and thriving where she's at. But man, it's really hard because people are living much longer. And we're really the first generation that are caregivers for our parents for so long because my grandmother, her parents
Absolutely.
died at a young
Ab-
age, and my mother, her parents lived to pretty decent older years, but they died rather quickly, so there was not a lot of caregiving involved. But today, with all the medications and all the advances, people are living longer, which is a wonderful thing. However, we've got to figure out how to support caregivers better. And 30% of seniors are solo agers. They have no children. They may have no one. Their children may live in Japan and they're in the States. And
Well,
so there's a lot of
yeah,
reasons why people are aging solo. And so that's a whole nother challenge.
it is. It is. At Christmas, the Council on Aging here has what they call Smile Makers. And this year we participated in them distributing 7,500 blankets and sweatsuits to people in assisted living communities or in private homes here who had no one that comes to see them. And that just touched the
Mhm.
surface. There's probably 20,000
Mhm.
people or more who don't have anyone that comes to visit
Mhm.
them. And this is an interesting. I every time I'm with people our age, part of the conversation goes to taking care of our
Mhm.
parents, right? We never thought of that. I mean, I never thought when I was this age we wouldn't be doing other things,
Right.
right? And of course, we're blessed to have our parents with us, but we just didn't plan for this. Not only we didn't plan for for our retirement to be this way, we don't go on trips because we don't have anybody else to take care of our mom. It's interesting when my dad was in his later, very, very, very later years. I asked the doctor if I could bring dad home for Christmas. And he said, Valerie, you're doing it just to make yourself feel better. And he said, if you bring your dad home, you're going to end up in the casket next to
Oh
him.
my.
And I didn't understand that. I thought that was really a mean thing to say. But now the more I've learned, and now 5 years later, I realize, just as you
Mhm.
said, that sometimes the caregivers suffer more than the patients do. And we're all dealing with all of these things. And if we want our parents to stay at home or they want to stay at home, then we have those issues as well,
Mhm.
right? And one of the issues I saw last week, Catherine, an article about the number of homes in the United States where seniors live that aren't maintained properly.
Yeah.
And what can we do about that?
Well, that's a tough one. And we'll run into homeowners that they were meticulous homeowners their whole entire life. Pride of ownership, as we say in real estate, where everything
Yeah.
was perfect. The lawn was perfect, the flower beds were perfect, the edging, everything, the siding, perfect, windows, everything. And today, maybe they pull into that driveway, and it's sad every time because their home does not look up to their own standards that they maintained all those years because they're just not able to do it. And as people become more fragile and they start staying home, they might go from go seniors where they're just go all the time to slow go. They start picking and choosing what they're going to go to, and then eventually no go. And depending on health, they can bounce in and out of these three areas. But as people become more slow go and no go, the house starts to deteriorate. And a lot of times it's the adult kids or the grandkids that are making it possible to keep that lawn mowed, etc. And people will think, I'm independent in my own home. Well, not really. If you're depending on your grandson to come over every week and do the mowing. And you're
Yeah, my mom says, "Oh, I'm perfectly happy." Yeah, that's because I'm here every day.
yes. And so I think that there's a lot of homeowners, or, like your mother's renting, that think they're independent in their own home when in fact it's only because their adult children or someone, it could be a nice neighbor, is making it possible. And there's a point to
And
which I think that a lot of people, where we just aren't thinking straight anymore. And I puzzle through with a lot of older homeowners on their thought process, and I can follow the logic that's in their brain when in fact it's not very logical, but I understand how they're thinking this through. And they'll think, well, I have a 5-year plan on how they're going to declutter and get ready to move, when they really need to be in assisted living right now. Like a good decision would be to move next week or within 2 months. I was just talking to a lady the other day, and she said 2 years. She or her husband aren't going to be here in 2 years. And then she said a year. And I'm like, she said 6 months. And I said, yeah, maybe. She said before winter. Yeah, maybe. I mean, this is actually a real crisis. They are falling all the time. And they're in conflict. The husband and wife are in conflict all the time because it's just where his mind is at right now. She's got Parkinson's. She knows she needs to move. He doesn't want to move. He falls all the time. No big deal, because he can crawl across the lawn, use the chain link fence to pull himself up. He's very proud of this. He can fall in the house, crawl across the floor, use furniture to pull himself up. And he says, when she falls, she's just dead weight, and we have to call 911. There's a lot of people that are only able to stay in their home thanks to 911.
911.
911 is their healthcare plan right now, is their home care plan. They're calling 911 all the time. And that's why there are government initiatives all over the globe, talking to mayors in every city on the planet about aging in place agenda, because there's actually not enough places for people to go to. And this is a crisis getting ready to happen. It's not a PC term, silver tsunami, but that's what we're facing. And it's going to change everything.
And people talk about the silver tsunami's coming.
It
It's
is
here.
here.
It's
It
here.
is
It's
here.
been here, and nobody
And
knows it.
there's a lot of people with a lot of pain points because of it. But I'd say most of our population isn't aware of it yet, but they're going to be aware, because our world is
And
going
it's
to turn
interesting.
upside down, where people 65 years of age and older are going to, for the first time in history, outnumber those that are children.
And isn't that number coming in like
I
2030 or
think so. I
something,
mean,
where
it's,
there'll be more people over 65 than there are under 18?
I think maybe by 2030. Um, so anyway, it's
So
coming.
it's pretty
It's coming.
it's interesting that you talk about the police and fire, because our friend Scott Fisher is working with a fireman group whose concern is the demand on the fire
Yes.
departments for senior falls.
Wow.
And if we think about it as citizens, that if you take your, and not that they aren't important, but if you take your critical services off duty to go help people who fell, and instead there's a fire,
Mhm.
who do you choose?
Mhm.
And that's very difficult. And the number of calls, he gave a statistic, Catherine, in a small city in Arizona, there's something like 16,000 calls in a year or a month or something, of people who just
Mhm.
fell. And even in assisted living communities, they call 911 for falls. And that's a drain on the city's resources. And not again that the senior citizens aren't important. They are. But what else can we do
Mhm.
to create some other kind of a force, some other kind of a service that maybe isn't 911, that's maybe a service that just handles come and help people who fell type
I
of
bet
thing. So that's
municipalities,
another issue.
yeah, I bet that municipalities are going to have to figure that out, because
Yeah.
I see this being a long, ongoing challenge. And then I wonder about, do assisted living communities call on falls? Independent living obviously can, because they can't touch people and
They
provide
do.
medical assistance.
They do, because I asked, and I said, "So what do you do if my mom falls?" "Well, we just call
Oh my
911."
goodness.
Well,
And at some point, you got to stop calling 911. My own family made
Yeah.
this mistake. And I'd already been doing the senior home coach thing and interviewing people on these topics and studying it. I have a library of books. But my husband wasn't ready to let his dad go. And he said, as long as that man is going to fight, I'm going to fight with him. So heartbreaking. And so every time he would fall, they would call 911. And my father in law, one of the most precious men ever, would get loaded on ambulance, taken to the hospital. Well, during COVID, he fell. And the last time most of us saw him was him being loaded onto the ambulance. He should have been on hospice at home. He should have had home care at home health at home, and hospice. That's where he was at. But the family wasn't willing to accept it. No one wanted to let this man go. And he was taken to an ambulance. Should have never happened. Put in the hospital. And they would only allow one family member to come per day for a limit of 2 hours. Like, what happened during COVID?
Yeah.
Criminal. And so the family was getting
It did.
ready to take his wife to the hospital for her 2 hour visit, even though all the family was in town. And he passed away on his own before she got there. And then they let all of us come, an army of Ambroses got to go into the
Yeah.
hospital. And then, no big deal, we could stay with his dead body for hours. What
Yeah.
happened in our
How
world that
sad.
allowed this kind of thing to happen? And I hope that we're all angry about it and that we want to prevent that from happening ever again.
Once he passed, then it was okay to be with
Yeah,
him. But when he was
then
alive,
we're
it
no
wasn't. So,
threat. We could all come in
right,
and breathe in the
right.
hospital.
And we do, and you do wonderful seminars for people on downsizing and so forth. I'm almost, as we talk about this, Catherine, I'm kind of wondering if we shouldn't be having seminars for people like us who are the
Mhm.
children of aging parents, because we need lessons, we need
We do.
classes. We don't know what to do. I had a couple in my office this week. The husband is in his late 80s, and his mom is, actually, and the wife's mom is in her 80s, and she said, "I have them both. I don't know what to do." So I gave her the one of the books we had here for um, the the fragile years, and another book that we have here that we give out. And they just don't know what to
Yeah.
do. We don't know what to do.
That is my
We just don't
favorite
know.
book. I say it every day. The Fragile Years is my favorite book for professionals and for caregivers, for everyone, for seniors, for the adult kids, everybody, because it's a short, easy read and it helps you get your mind in the game so you understand the reality of where this all is going. And I love the idea of workshops for adult children that are guiding aging loved ones. But here's my pessimistic view, and I can't wait for somebody to prove me wrong. I don't think kids are coming because, like I just said, they're busy. Oh, yeah, they're stressed. They're stressed, but they're also very busy just doing the caregiving, but also living their life. I don't think they're coming to a workshop. Now, seniors that are go go and maybe even slow go, they'll come because they're bored and they're available during the day. And so, if you can make it entertaining and interesting, they will come. And that's what we're teaching senior home coach professionals to do all over this country, from coast to coast, from New York City, New Jersey, Baltimore to Seacoast seniors. And then you with your Always Ageless radio show. I'm so proud of what you're doing. You've been the shining star so far in this
Oh,
whole thing with your radio show. And that's how you can reach people, is by broadcasting and putting those virtual clues out there, those breadcrumbs out there, so that the adult children, when their hair is on fire and they're hysterical, that they can find you. Because what happens is they end up in the office of a senior living community and finally it's hitting them and they're hysterical and bawling and they're saying, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to make all these decisions. I'm not ready for this. And it's everything all at once because they're not prepared. And so that's when
and
they're going
and
to,
and how to make the decisions, right? Like someone I know just had their mom in a assisted living community. They had no idea about the entry fees and the other fees and the fees if you want to have if they need to have medication and so forth. And they just went in straight and said, "Here's my mom, what do I have to
Mhm.
do?" And they could have made better decisions if they had someone like us
Yeah.
helping them.
Especially if someone's going to run out of money, it's really critical that they have
Yeah.
a plan. Because let's say you're going to potentially need to go on Medicaid, you got to do things right and probably need to move into a community where you're 2 years self-pay before you run out of money in hopes that they will keep you after. Because if you're straight Medicaid and you just now are realizing that you need to go into a Medicaid facility, and I don't like to say the word facility, I usually say
I know
community,
you don't. I know you don't.
um, because we call it the F word, facility, because no one wants to live in a
We do.
facility. But let's
No.
be real, if you're going to go to Medicaid, you're talking about usually that nursing home that your mom doesn't want to go to, unless you know how to navigate and you're utilizing professionals that can help you move into the one or two nicer places. That you have to have a plan and you need a runway for it.
Right. But and it's important because all places are not equal. Every assisted living community, every memory care community, every board and care home is not the same. Some of them don't even have to have the kind of licenses that we would want. And some people don't even know how to check their
Mm-hmm.
credentials or their
Right.
reviews on a state
Mm-hmm.
basis. So let's talk about, because I want to have time to do this, and this is really important to me. Let's talk about you and what brought you to where you are now. Because we talk about all this knowledge you have and your heart for serving seniors, but also your heart for helping other people like us serve seniors. So, how did this all start? You were a candy striper. I was a candy striper, so I know that part. But where did your journey lead you?
I have been, I started in apartment management before I was even like legal adult. I was leasing apartments. And I kind of grew up a little bit in the apartment management world. And I heard a rumor that you might need a real estate license to be the manager. So I thought, well, I'll just go get a real estate license. So at the age of 21,
I didn't
yeah,
know
at the age
this.
of
I didn't know
21, I
this.
got a real estate license. And then I found out, oh, I need a broker. So I went to Century 21. I had a gold jacket, and I'm really dating myself. My neck and my gold jacket story. I'm dating myself. Okay. I had a gold jacket, and I was just 21. And I thought, man, some of those realtors back then, especially some of the women, they were like mean. It was
Yeah.
rough. Um,
And they weren't going to help
oh
you, and they
no.
weren't gonna share their MLS book
Oh
with
my
you.
goodness, that MLS book. So I've lived the real estate world my whole life. And I brought two Keller Williams real estate offices to my market. I mean, I have done, I think, everything in real estate, and I've done it in a big, splashy way. And I've always enjoyed my career. I always thought my career was so exciting. But I can tell you that it is, this is the most exciting time in my career right now, and I didn't see it coming. In 2018, I just decided I am tired of competing with other real estate agents. I don't want to compete with any other real estate agents ever again. I want to create my own lane. I'm done. How can I do something different? And I saw the opportunity to serve in a more fulfilling manner and help seniors that were making big transitional moves. And I thought, I'm just going to have a small career now, just focused on helping seniors. And I saw the idea to do a seminar series, and I thought, oh, that's for me. Because I've been training and recruiting real estate agents for a long time. I'm used to being in front of a classroom.
Yep.
Seminars, that's
Right.
for me. And then I found out about senior move management. I didn't know what that was, but I thought, I need to find out. That's for me. And that's where you help people sort, organize, go through everything they own, figure out what you're going to take. You do a space plan of their new home. You help them move, get resettled. You honor the timeline of the process. I mean, we could have a whole radio show just on that. It's a beautiful process versus call, two guys in a moving van to move.
Yeah.
It's a completely different experience. And I appreciate professional movers, but it's a completely different industry where it's about efficiency and how fast can you pack everything. And then seniors end up living with boxes for the rest of their life. It's very sad. And also, just calling a regular real estate agent is such a bad idea for your mama, because I can tell you that I know the real estate industry so well that the general real estate agent has no idea at
Mhm.
all the timeline of a move. And so I am so passionate about how these moves take place. And then the contrary idea of aging in place, to a realtor, we're interested in helping people sell their home and make a positive move. But we also have to meet people where they are and help them thrive in the homes we sold them. And I think who better than us, than realtors, to be a senior home coach and help people in this process. Boy, I'm going deep,
So
going
where did
deep.
you come up with that name?
Senior
You
home
so you
coach.
s you decided you wanted to serve seniors, but you were a real estate office manager, you had a market
Mhm,
center, you had agents who worked under
mhm.
you, and did you kind of leave that to start serving
I
seniors?
did, and if it's very freeing. I love helping realtors today that want to work in a new and different way, and that aren't transactional thinkers and are looking for a fulfilling career. So a lot of the people in the senior home coach world today are mature realtors, mostly women with a nurturing
Older?
heart, very
Mhm.
heart centered, and they want to do something much more meaningful. We're blending senior niche real estate, senior placement, which is helping people figure out the best place to go, whether it's locally or across the country, helping people kind of figure out what makes the most sense, as hard as it might be. And that's really a coach where you're helping people self discover. We're not the hero. Everyone is the hero of their own life, but we're the guide with a plan, a guide with the questions, a guide who can help you clarify your own wishes and wants and decisions, whether you're the older homeowner or you're a loved one, helping guide them through the process. So it's just so amazing, and it's so needed, and it means senior home coach professionals and others in the senior economy being brave like you, Valerie, and getting on the radio and helping provide this information. And so the senior home coach method starts with broadcasting and community outreach. In fact,
Yes, and I
every
have
business
a couple
today needs
years
to be in the
now.
business of storytelling, but certainly we do because people need us. Did I answer that question?
Thank you. Yes, they do, but yes, but I have some more questions with that. People do need us. I'm in a situation where one of our group members gave me a referral, and I just helped a lady in our local area sell her home. And I would leave there and just page one of text one of our friends, and I would say, "The world needs us. The world needs us." Because first of all, what I want to be sure everyone knows about you is that we all still sell real estate, but our heart is for serving.
Mhm.
And when your heart is for serving, everything people say, well, you still get paid? Well, we do get paid, but the money is almost secondary when you're serving
Mhm.
people because there's such a need for this. So let's talk about, how did you come up with the name Senior Home Coach?
So I started those seminars, and almost immediately, PBS Kansas came to me and said, "We'd like you to do a television show for us." Totally shocked me. That
Oh,
was not in my plan. Okay, that threw me for a loop, and it was very intimidating. And at the time, I must tell you, I was 5'1" and weighed 200 pounds. And so I couldn't believe they'd want me to be on TV. And I said yes because I believe in saying yes. I actually, if I can be honest, and I hope this doesn't make people turn off the radio, I actually believe that God wants all of these things to happen, that we're being
oh, I
called.
absolutely, oh, I absolutely
Yeah,
believe
so
it.
I do a Zoom every single day since September of 2023 called The Senior Call. It's theseniorcall.com. It's for realtors, placement professional, move managers, everyone that's interested in helping to answer the call to serve seniors when it comes to complex decisions related to housing and all of these things. And so, anyway, the TV show back in 2019 really gave me the opportunity to become an expert because and seminars too, interviewing experts in all areas within the senior industry and beyond, healthcare, physicians. It's been such a joy. And it's helped me really become the expert I set out to be. And how did I come up with the name? I decided on television a couple of years ago I needed a different tagline than Realtor. And so I
Yes.
said, I am America's senior home coach. with a little trademark. And then,
And then you
yeah, I just
yeah, go ahead.
decided that's what I was going to declare. I declared 2018 that I'm going to dedicate the rest of my life to serving seniors. And I think when you make a declaration to the universe, things start aligning. And that's what started all. I mean, it was just a solid declaration. Then a couple of years later, I said, I am America's senior home coach. I want that on TV. And I've taken off all the realtor stuff because this is far beyond real estate, what we're doing. Real estate's a very tiny piece of this. Um, and then I started to do the senior call because I wanted to help other realtors and other people understand that there's a way to create your own lane and do something so much more meaningful. Realtors that are starting to question whether they still fit in the real estate world with everything changing all the time. They're starting to doubt themselves and think maybe they don't matter anymore and that they should quit. So I've had so many realtors get in this and say, you've changed my life. You saved my career.
Absolutely. Well, certainly, I'm living proof of that.
Then
I'm living proof of
And
that.
that just makes me so happy because I really am all about entrepreneurs and helping entrepreneurs have the career that they dream of. And we're serving seniors, but I'm really at service for entrepreneurs. I want entrepreneurs to have a fulfilling life and make a difference. My program in Wichita is Empowering Seniors on PBS Kansas. You can find my show on pbs.org. My seminar series and my nonprofit is Empowered Senior. And I thought, I can empower seniors across the country if I help empower other realtors to do the same thing that I'm doing and lead them to great training and great professional communities that can help them thrive. So now we're really embedded in the National Aging in Place Council, the Society of Certified Senior Advisors. And we just are going deeper and deeper and deeper to where this has become a completely different profession.
It's interesting, and I want to be sure that our viewers and our listeners understand this, that these are people who are, some of us are realtors, some of us are in other fields, but we all had our own individual lives. But the senior home coach actually is something that encompasses all of
Mm-hmm.
these, right? Because again, it's the spirit and the call to serve, and we all work together.
It's holistic too. It's everything from your
It
whole
is.
life. And then all the training that we're getting, all the communities that we're joining, all the organizations that we're part of. And in Senior Home Coach, we're throwing it all in the blender. We're on a fast trajectory of growth, helping each other. I say locked in arms, has lifelong friends, changing the way people are served across the country and how people are educated across the country. So we're really becoming educators more than anything. Senior Home Coach is about becoming the authority in your market on aging issues. And
So if someone's listening today and they're saying, "Gosh, yeah, I'm kind of going through all of this. What should they do?" I mean, yeah, I'm my mom's living with me. My mom's in her 90s, and it's kind of a bummer on my life. I don't know what to do for her. I can't leave work to take her to the doctor. Should I leave her here? Should I put her in assisted living? Or I don't know how to help my mom, or my mom's in another state. I can't have her live with me. People have all these issues that we've talked about today. How should they how should they try to solve that problem? Can they call us? Do you have
I think they
a
could call Valerie
suggestion?
Van de Zilver, reach out to
Yes,
Valerie
they
Van de
can. Yes,
Zilver,
they can.
reach out to
Yep.
Katherine Ambrose, and then 5 minutes on the phone with us, we can change everything for you because we're going to help you think a little clearer and work through some of these pain points, and you're going to know exactly what to do or be on the right track. So starting with asking questions like that is so important, but make sure you're asking professionals that have answers and have resources. And that's what Senior Home Coach has. That's what Valerie has. We have resources. We're the resource to the resources. It doesn't do you any good to get into a whiny group on Facebook where everybody is cussing up a storm about boohoo what they're dealing with the adult kids and to crowdsource with other people that are in that same situation. I guess it could be useful to feel like you're part of a tribe, but really what you need to do is reach out to professionals that can help shine a light and help you figure out a real plan. And I like to talk about good kids and bad kids because there's so much guilt that
Let's do
people
that.
put on themselves about how things are
Yep,
going. And those are the good
absolutely.
kids where they will sacrifice their marriage, they will sacrifice their health, they will sacrifice everything and still have so much guilt. And some of them will love their mom all the way to heaven, and they are so joyful and proud of that. It was like the best thing they ever did. And then there are others that are really putting the rest of their own life in jeopardy. They're getting off their careers, they're spending their money um, trying to be a good kid. And then on the other hand, we have the bad kids with inheritance impatience, and that are moving into their parents' home because mom needs help. And then they never move and they really aren't even helping mom. And we have these bad kids that are treating the good kids terrible and just are. Until I got into senior niche, I had no idea that we might be kidnapped or physically attacked by bad kids. And I reached out to some colleagues that work in senior living communities. They're like, "Oh yeah, it happens to us all the time." Here I am, a naive real estate agent, where usually people are like at least respectful. And I was actually held hostage in a house by some bad kids for a while, and reported it to the police. And if that ever happens to me again, believe me, I have a plan now.
Yeah, absolutely. So if someone wants help, if they're listening today or they're watching our video, which we hope you all do, this will be on YouTube and in other places, um, they can reach out to us. And the best place to reach us is our numbers, and our contact information will be at the bottom of this. But it's important that our listeners all know you're not alone, first of all, right? You're not alone. And we're all going through this. Okay. Some of you on this call are the seniors. Some of you are baby boomers. You're the adult child of an aging parent. You're the sandwich generation. You are a senior and you are a caregiver. You are all of these things. And people like me and Catherine and our network of people around the country who are senior home coaches are available to help you. Our services are free for consultation. And then if you need a move manager or something else, we can help guide you to people who are the best. Make sure that you or your seniors or your loved ones all live their very best life. Catherine, if we have 1 minute left. What is your best advice you'd like to leave with our listeners and our viewers today?
Oh, that's a good question. I also want to mention the double sandwich generation, our kids
Oh,
that are trying to support us who are adult caregivers and support their grandparents. This is a intergenerational, multidimensional challenge, and the best thing you can do is reach out for help. And we mentioned a couple books on here. It's important to reach out and get educated because this is big, and we have we have solutions for you that are going to help you feel so much better and help you know exactly what to do. So we hope you do reach out for help. There's a lot of professionals that are at the ready.
thank you, Katherine Ambrose, America's senior home coach. You're going to be seeing a lot more of Katherine. Here, we'll always have her back again on our show and other things. And you can also find her online and find her shows that are on PBS. Thank you for joining us today on Always Ageless. Remember to come back again next Monday afternoon here on KMET, and find us also on YouTube.
Thank you, Valerie.
Thank you, Catherine.